Hello everyone. So this is the complete version of everything. These are 8x8 pattern tiles. This is in a loft. So I just threw up some pictures and I'm letting you know that I use a Mapai Ultra Color. This is drying. The grout is still wet, but it will dry to the white part. I was going to go with frost, but I switched it over to warm gray. Anyways, so just grab your level and put it on the shower pan and see if that shower pan is off. Do the same thing on the other side. And put it on your side walls and see if the walls are off as well. Everything looks good. So just put that level aside and just grab your tape measure. So I would like to start with a full on that the highest point of the wall. To me, it looks a lot better that way. So you can do it any other way. If you've seen my videos, you know that I always start with a full. I gauge from a full from the top. And the cuts on the bottom of your first course of shower. So we're going to chalk another line on the outside of that pan. We're going to follow the outside of that pan all the way up. As you can see, I already did. And what I'm going to do is mark everything just on the wall. But we're going to lay everything on the floor and gauge it and then transfer the dimension to that. So just grab your tape measure. And I'm just going to take you into a room here where I have everything all laid out. Just give me 1 second. So this is going to be for a marking of from the top of that corner of the ceiling to the shower base. And we need that dimension. I believe the dimension was 79 and a half or 79 and 3/4. Okay, you see how I have everything on that floor there? Just let me set up properly here for you so you can see better. And I always use 1/16 spacers. Now, these tiles are a little bit off, but I'll explain that a little bit later. So grab your level. When you lay all that down, make sure that your tiles are hitting that level so it's nice and straight through and through. Because if you're off a little bit, you could lose that gauge. Just make sure that your spacers are in there and grab your tape measure. And from that corner of that shower to the bottom of the base, we're going to take that calculation. So what I did was I pre-cut that bottom first course. And I believe I eliminated 3 inches off of that. That's my first course. That's going to start on that shower pan. Let's see what that dimension was. So 6 inches. So, excuse me, it was 2 inches that I knocked off. I'm just going to set my camera back here. So that's going to be my first course. And I'm also, like I said in my first video, I'm going to do a return in there. It didn't call for it, but I think it'll look a lot better. So put your tile on that shower pan and just mark it. So we are going to put our level on that mark. Get our level. And we're going to level those two walls on that first course mark. The reason why is we don't want to overstep that line for our first course because it is crucial and we need to take our time with that. Sometimes these shower pans might have a little bit of a hump in the center as you go along, but you use these wedges to kind of pick up and it helps you out. You don't want to overstep that gap on that shower pan more than an eighth, that's for sure. I try to keep it as close as possible, so it's probably about a 16th gap from that shower pan. And we're just going to mark this wall as well. Remember, your gauging is always time consuming, so this is very crucial. So what I did was I pre-cut everything so I didn't waste any time on the video. What I do is I start my first tile on that, not this corner wall, on the other side. You start a full and you run it through and through and you do a fold cut in the corner, and then you do another fold cut going to the opposite side there for the return. Okay, so this is my chrome tile edge. I never use a 3/8. I always use a 1/2 inch because sometimes I might have to get the bow out of the wall, and I want to make sure that I have a little bit of more room to play with my tiles. So they're going to use that laminate on the floor. So I'm going to help the installers tuck that underneath the metal. So I'm going to take a measurement on the top of that ceiling all the way to that laminate. And I'm going to leave them about, I'm going to dock off about 1/8 so it'll be easier for them to tuck it underneath. And I also want my tile edge to run right down through that shower pan. So when they butt up their baseboard, it's a nice clean butt up against the metal. It's just a lot more appealing, and the carpenters really like it that way as well. It looks, they thank me all the time for that. So I'm just gonna transfer that mark on there. And I'm gonna go and cut that metal. Okay, so that is 95. It might be 95 and 1/8. But remember, I docked off an eighth. So it's just under 95. Okay, so what I do is, because that's going to be against my shower pan, I notch that out. And that's going to be a little bit more for the ceiling because that has a bend in that ceiling. Okay, you see how my tile edge hits that pan? You can do it either way. You can have your tile edge on that pan, but I like it butt up against the pan. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, when I have that full on the top there, I want to make sure I'm not going to have a sliver cut on the tap wall. So I'm just going to just put a guide mark, and that's going to be that secondary tile from the top. And I'm just going to put my level on because I don't want a sliver cut, like I said, against that tap wall. So we're just going to check, and it's going to be good. It's almost the same as the bottom cut, maybe 3 inches off on that. So that'll work out perfectly. So we'll just mark that and see what we got there. I think it might be pretty close to the same. Maybe, yeah, pretty close. Maybe another half inch on that. Beautiful. Worked out great. Remember, you always have to try and think of every possible situation before you start. So I prefer not to do a full on that side because you're going to end up having maybe mini cuts on the sloped wall, ceiling. And we want to try to avoid that. Okay, so this is my first course. Time lapsing it, of course. And if you see those little red wedges, that just kind of helps me lift up to that line. You see how I have a full at that start on the end wall? And then I do a return. Now, mind you, I put a tile edge in that return. So what you have to do for that cut, you have to dock off a half inch of that tile, like the tile edge, because then you have a nice complete return on that, opposed as just cutting it and then put it on that pattern won't flow through properly. Okay, this is my my corner shelf by Schluter. Now, if you look at that Schluter, you'll see the same pattern as the tile. You see that flower? I got lucky with that. I found one, so it turned out really good. If you look at the tile, you see that flower. It's almost it's the same as the shelf, which turned out pretty cool. The owners were really surprised about that. I wanted to go with black shelf because of that flower has a black outline. Okay. So that shelf just sits right on top of that tile, and then you just keep continuing to tile. There's no cuts or anything to go around that shelf. So it's just a full tile going through and through. Don't forget that half inch cut because of that tile edge for that return, so that flower looks like a fold cut on the corner. So these tiles are off. As you could see, I always put my level on it, and what I do is I make the adjustment with those wedges. I use that 1/8 spacer at the first tile I lay, and then I just run, and then I use the spacer still, but I come back with my level on the top every course, and I just use those red wedges to help me get that pattern to line up properly. You hide everything with the grout, which is a warm grout, so it matches that more of that little tint of gray. Not the flower, but that white part. So this is drying the process. I'll come back the next day, and I use a new Flex 302 silicone. It's going to be a translucent, and it's got vinegar in it, and it won't mildew or anything like that. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you stopping by. Have a good day. Bye bye.